All right, let's now bring you an update that is coming in with regards to Minister of State for Home, Mr. Ajay Mishra Teni. In fact, the minister is in the news for this video that was recorded in his constituency of Mr. Teni addressing his supporters. He's made certain extremely controversial statements, which now the opposition members are questioning. Chief among them is Shiv Sena MP Priyanka Chaturvedi, who will join us shortly on the program. First, let's listen in to what the minister said.
हम लोग आराम जैसे बात करते हैं तो हम लोगों का ये होता है, कहीं अगर मान लीजिए हम लखनऊ जा रहे हैं, अब लखनऊ जा रहे हैं, हम गाड़ी से बैठ के जा रहे हैं, भाई तेज रफ्तार से गाड़ी जा रही है, हम गच्ची की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं। अब सड़क पर कई बार होता है कि कुत्ते भौंका करते हैं, सड़क के नीचे होते कई बार कुत्ते गाड़ी के पीछे दौड़ने लगते हैं, तो अब वो उनका स्वभाव होता है, वो उसके लिए मैं कुछ नहीं कहूँगा, जिसका जो स्वभाव होता है उसके अनुरूप वो व्यवहार करता है। लेकिन हमारा लोगों का ऐसा स्वभाव नहीं है। जो चीज़ जब सामने आती है और सामने आने की जब हिम्मत जुटा पाएंगे तो निश्चित रूप से हर एक व्यक्ति को मैं पूरा जवाब देता हूं। लेकिन आपके भरोसे से, आपके विश्वास से, आपने जो मुझे ताकत दी है, मुझे बहुत आत्मविश्वास आया है और मैं यही कहूँगा कि आप इसी तरह से हमको ताकत देते रहिए। दुनिया की कोई ताकत आपको निराश नहीं होने देगी, हताश नहीं होने देगी। आप सबकी ताकत के बल पर चाहे जितने राकेश टिकैत
Okay, so that is the speech we were referring to. Now let me go across and introduce to our viewers joining us here on the program is Member of Parliament and Shiv Sena leader Priyanka Chaturvedi. Very good afternoon, Ms. Chaturvedi. Good to have you here on the program. I was reading your tweet and you are taking the Minister of State, Mr. Ajay Mishra Teni, head-on that particular statement which he made. Can you tell us what is the point you are making? What is the question you're asking the Minister?
If you remember correctly, a few months back, just before the UP elections and when the farmer protest was on, in Lakhimpur Kheri, there were farmers who were mowed down by a car. Today, he makes a reference about when a car is being driven, there are dogs that are barking. Now, who is he referring to as dogs? And if you see how MOS Home has been shielded by the entire government machinery, was not asked to step down, and the demeaning manner in which he spoke about the farmers is extremely unfortunate. And the comments he makes about Rakesh Tikait, it just shows a level of arrogance that has seeped in that belief that nothing can be done to him, his family. They can continue to behave in this manner. They can continue to, drive their cars over the lives of human beings and journalists, and under the garb of kutte bhok rahe hain. What does that even mean? This reminds you of what the Prime Minister said, कि अगर गाड़ी के नीचे एक कुत्ता भी आ जाता है, दिल में दर्द होता है. You remember that in context to the 2002 riots. So it is just shameful. The arrogance comes across so clearly with these words, and I think he owes an apology to the lives of those family members who lost their lives.
So are you saying, Ms. Chaturvedi, that this is a direct reference to the Lakhimpur Kheri incident? Because here I think the minister is talking about Rakesh Tikait. I do understand there's a reference to dogs and chasing of cars, and in your tweet you are saying very clearly that is this reference to dogs, to the mowing down of farmers and journalists? So are you here trying to tell us that this is how the minister is defending that incident and defending his son by way of it?
No, it also smacks of arrogance. What I'm trying to say here is the example he's used, the context in which he's speaking. Don't we know that Rakesh Tikait has been leading this farm movement, which forced this government to take back those 3 black laws? So he's clearly making a reference to the farmers and their agitation. If you recall, the agitation is going on in Delhi. And the government of India wants to have conversation with the farmers, but the farmers have boycotted that conversation on MSP pricing. So the arrogance of the minister in reference to context to what farmers are facing, to the farmer leader, clearly smacks of that hypocrisy and arrogance that has come into this government in the belief that farmers are nothing but, mere noisemakers. They are barking, and we do not really need to take them seriously. What he's clearly saying is absolutely just that, कि वो 2 टके का आदमी राकेश टिकैत जी के लिए कह रहे हैं. So that this entire context is to what, and I just reminded that when he brings in the car reference,
yes,
he's categorically bringing in that reference of his own son. who's
For the
caught in
sake
this.
of our viewers, I'll just put it in context that Ashish Mishra, son of Ajay Mishra, is accused of running over 4 farmers and a journalist during a protest against farm laws at Lakhimpur Kheri on the 3rd of October. 3 more were killed in the violence that erupted after the killings. In the clashes, Ashish Mishra was allegedly part of his father's convoy, which encountered protests on his way to the event in the area. Now, Mr. Rakesh Tikait has also responded, Ms. Chaturvedi, to this entire thing, and he says, well, the minister is angry that his son is in jail, and there is Gunda Raj in Lakhimpur, and people are scared of him. Do you also subscribe to that view that this is his way of sort of establishing a sense of power and authority, that no one should mess with them?
Absolutely. And that this entire arrogance comes from the support that he received from the government of India. That despite being in the wrong, despite his son being clearly put behind bars, yet the government of India allowed him to continue while the investigation in the Lakhimpur Kheri case was on. So how can you expect a free and fair order or judgment if the Minister of State for Home, who's obviously seeking reports from all state governments on the law and order issues, is actually part of the investigation? The second part, if you remember, after his son was, after this investigation, when a journalist tried to put questions across to him, he also used very abusive language against that particular journalist. So those incidents, this particular statement is just a series of the arrogance and the support that he enjoys from the government of India and the cabinet ministers, as well as the Prime Minister and the Home Minister of this country, for him to continue speaking like that. And also shows that I'm very certain that the people of Lakhimpur Kheri must be living in a state of fear with someone as arrogant as him, who is openly threatening them and openly referring to them as, barking dogs.
Of course, I think cannot be disputed that he is referred to Rakesh Tikait as a do kaudi ka aadmi, which is there on record. And, he's also said that dogs bark on the side of the road, which means he has likened farmers to dogs. But whether, we can draw an inference about Lakhimpur Kheri right now, that is something you are questioning in your tweet. But what is it that you're asking for? What do you expect the BJP to take some action on this minister? Because look at the applause that he wins with that speech. I mean, clearly he has a lot of clout. Would the BJP be willing, to take action on someone like him of, the kind of support he has?
I doubt BJP will take any action against him, because what he's speaking is a reflection of what BJP thinks of India's farmers. On the back of farmers, they have managed to say hum free fund mein 80 crore logon ko ration de rahe hain. On the back of the hard work of these farmers, the Prime Minister went on to say hum pure duniya ko wheat providers banenge. And the very same farmers have to face the brunt of their lathi and their tear shells and tear gas shells, because they do not have respect for farmers. And his words only echo the mindset of every single Bharatiya Janata Party leader, minister, as well as those who stand in support of the Bharatiya Janata Party, that they continue to speak against the farmers of this country and try to ridicule them, to mock them, undermine them, and also refer them as dogs, because they're asking for their rights and they're speaking up for their rights.
But as a strong voice of the opposition, you must make it clear what you're asking for. If you feel that here is a minister who must be sacked for these comments, this is an economy that depends largely on agriculture. If this is the way a top minister in the government and MOS Home is talking about farmers, there must be outrage over it. And perhaps, Ms. Chaturvedi, you can take it further, not just, end with a tweet.
No, absolutely. One must understand something here. If there was a government which believed in accountability, he would have stepped down the day his son's name came under the entire investigation that happened in Lakhimpur Kheri and the deaths that happened. The government continued to support him. We continue to protest that he needs to step down. The protest will not end by just a tweet. This protest will continue. Anyone, having this kind of a mindset about fellow Indians, forget whether they're farmers or whatever, but this comment about fellow Indians, smack off a brazen, I would say the power that has gone into them, that they believe that they become so powerful that they can get away by behaving in a certain manner. So this protest will continue. This tweet was an indicator that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated. He A, needs to apologize. B, if he refuses to do that, then the government needs to step in and ask him to step down. And I'm hoping Uttar Pradesh government will get the state government will pull him up and ask the center to take action against him.
Priyanka Chaturvedi, time and again you've also made this point in earlier tweets also, that the government is protecting the minister. Why is the government doing so? All the calls for his removal have fallen on deaf ears. This is not the first time that the minister has made a controversial statement or has been in the news for the wrong reasons. He has also misbehaved with journalists when he was asked about his son, a number of occasions. Each time there are calls for his removal, but nothing happens. And you are among those who believe that the government is indeed protecting him. Why so?
Because I say the government is protecting him because there's a series of protection policy that has, implemented by this government. Whether it was the rape case where one of the MLAs, Sengar was involved in a particular rape case. He was not asked to step down till the outrage did not increase to a level where they were pushed to take that action. Nobody took action when whether it is Mr. Teni or whether it is even one of the ministers whose own family members own a restaurant in Goa and are using that an illegal license to continue operating that restaurant. So there has been a series of protection that has been given to their ministers and a sense of arrogance and brazenness that people have voted us into power. That means if we have voted into power, we have got the votes, we are not accountable to the people of this country. Smacks of the kind of governance that we are seeing. So we will continue to raise our voice. It does
By
not
that
mean
logic, Ms. Priyanka Chaturvedi, that the opposition should unite. We see no semblance of that. In fact, looking at your party itself is fighting for its survival, fighting for its identity, fighting for its party symbol. Today there was a top court hearing on these matters. So look at the opposition and how do you then galvanize these issues and question the center when the entire opposition is so fragmented. Your party, the party that you represent itself, is going through a crisis of identity and existence.
So two things I'd like to make clear. Firstly, the opposition is united. If you would have seen Derek O'Brien's tweet from TMC, where he said everybody is on the same page as what Priyanka Chaturvedi has tweeted, that we will continue to raise this voice inside the parliament, outside the parliament. So the opposition stands united. And you can see the parties he's mentioned. So all opposition parties are together. Now, second, with regards to my party, no, we are not fighting any identity crisis. There is one Shiv Sena, which has seen a rebellion. Some of the elected representatives who won and who contested and won on the election symbol of Shiv Sena have gone and defected. So those who have defected and who have backstabbed the party cannot lead the party into an identity crisis. We may have lost numbers in terms of MLAs and members of parliament who have chosen to go on the other side, but we haven't lost our identity. So we are fighting a constitutional battle in the Supreme Court as well as with the Election Commission, and we are very clear that there is only one Shiv Sena, and that Shiv Sena is being led by Shri Uddhav Thackeray, and I speak as one of his spokesperson and as one of the representative of Shiv Sena. The others, you can refer to them as Chota BJP if you wish, because sooner or later they will have to merge with the BJP.
Right. Those are again constitutional issues which are yet to be sorted. The top court is seized of the matter. Closing comments from you on where do you see this going? On the issue of Shiv Sena, of course, now that the top court has referred it to a larger bench, what do you think? How do you plan to resolve this? Because clearly, at the moment, Mr. Eknath Shinde has taken over the reins. It's a big setback for the Uddhav faction of the Shiv Sena, and you're still struggling to, put things together in the party and keep the house in order.
No, we are not struggling. Please let me be very clear. Some MLAs defecting does not make it a struggle. Yes, it looks like a challenge. I would call it a challenge.
Okay.
Not a. That's one. B, the point number two is that people of Maharashtra are clearly seeing that how BJP has engineered this entire defection, has tried to come to power on the back of a rebellion within the party ranks. That's number two. People are watching. People know what the truth is. And third, I'd like to say, my belief in the Constitution is supreme, and the 10th schedule of the Constitution is very clear that political party is very different from a legislative party or a parliamentary party. Political party is supreme, and political party leadership will decide who the chief whip is, will decide who the floor leader is, and it cannot be usurped by somebody who's just taken a handful of MLAs with him and said, hello, the party belongs to me. Next, someone else will come forward, and maybe tomorrow Eknath Shindeji will break away some 40-50 MLAs of the Bharatiya Janata Party and go claim the Prime Minister's chair, saying that BJP is now mine. So it's ridiculous. You're setting a wrong precedent. So a fewer numbers of MLAs does not mean the party is struggling. We are facing a challenge. We will overcome that challenge by the support.
Yes, but I appreciate you joining us, and you've been an extremely strong and vocal voice, against the ruling party at the center, raising important issues like you've done once again. Thank you so much, Priyanka Chaturvedi, for joining us here on the program.
Thank you.